Welcome to the Capstone Conversation, where you learn about what's happening in the greater East Bay. I am your host, Jared Ash. I am joined by Dr. Walani Sung, who is a veterinarian. She is on to talk about what is happening with our pets here in the greater East Bay. There was a big surge of people getting pets while they were working from home during COVID, which was great for the pet community. But where are we going? What's the industry like? What is adoption like? How are people treating those pets? What are problems with strays in the region? We're going to dive into all of that and also tie this to economic development and workforce development. Dr. Walani Sung, thanks for joining me. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Jared. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your show. I am a board certified veterinary behaviorist. That means I'm a veterinarian. I have my graduate degrees in animal behavior, and I did a residency post veterinary school to specialize in behavior health. I am the dog cat version of a human psychiatrist. So, in my current role, I am the Senior Director of Animal Admissions and Wellbeing at Joybound People and Pets. I oversee three departments. I oversee admissions, which is intaking animals into our program. I also oversee the shelter behavior program, which is when a pet in our shelter experiences stress and their behavior decompensates. We have a team of trainers that help them develop a behavior program that meet their needs and retrain them. We do behavior modification for them if needed. I also oversee the behavior specialty service, a program open to the public where we have individual consultations with pets with behavioral disorders. We provide public training classes and one-on-one training classes. The public training classes are your basic puppy socialization, puppy 101, dog 101. We also have fun workshops like fungility or nose work. We have a reactive dog class and canine good citizen classes.
Joybound is located in Walnut Creek. What I found interesting about Joybound versus other pet shelters is you work throughout the whole region. You even send out vans to the Central Valley to get pets, which is why I wanted your organization and your role on here. Can you talk about how you work with other shelters throughout Northern California and the Central Valley?
We have partnerships with shelters all over Northern California. We go to the Central Valley as far as Fresno, Madera, Merced. We go to Solano County. We go up north to Tehama. We have agreements with multiple shelters in the area, and we try to go to a different shelter every week to help alleviate the burden of overpopulation in those municipal shelters. We are selecting animals that we think that the community wants. In Contra Costa, we select animals of different breeds, different sizes, and we want people to add a family member to their home so that we can help make life a little bit better for both people and pets.
Is it just because your central location and your reputation that more people come to Joybound, or did they just have more people who like pets in this area compared to those other areas?
The reason we are a closed nonprofit animal welfare organization. One of part of our mission is to help alleviate the pet population in municipal shelters, right? Like one of our missions is to help alleviate the overpopulation in shelters that do have a lower adoption rate. We have in the Bay Area, we have a higher population of people, a higher population of pets willing to have animals in their home. We want to be able to bring these animals into an area that that's higher, has a higher population of people that can adopt an animal. A lot of the areas we help are more rural. They don't have as many people to adopt animals. We have more people than animals. Therefore, we are helping our neighboring communities and our community by providing adoptable pets for them.
Give us an overview of the last 5 years or so of the pet community and what's happening in East Bay, right? I mentioned in my intro, there was a lot of adoption that happened in COVID with the work from home. Just give us an overview, in your opinion, what's happening in the community now.
During COVID, there was a lot of pet adoptions because everybody was working from home. They had more free time on their hands. There was hardly any animals we had in our shelter. That was really great. But also, along with COVID, there was a halt in the amount of veterinary services we could provide. And one of them were vaccinating animals and spaying and neutering, not just because we didn't have the capacity, it was also the supply chain issues, right? We were not being, because so many PPEs or personal protection equipment was being used to adjust human cases during the pandemic. There were less to be given to veterinary sources. We had to slow down. And also, in the beginning of COVID, we didn't understand what were safe protocols to have. There's a few months where we had scramble as to how can we provide services to people, but also make sure that we had appropriate protection so that our shelter staff members didn't get sick because we couldn't help people if we didn't have people to do surgery. It was a catch-22 because of that. But not just us, the entire industry had to put a halt and figure out what was safe to operate our best practices in the midst of a pandemic. Because of that halt, it was detrimental to animals that were not being spayed and neutered because after the pandemic or the tail end of the pandemic, we have an overpopulation of animals now. And then added to that burden are people that now have to go back to work and they realize that, oh no, I don't have time to take care of my pets. And then they're giving up their pets, or people that have experienced homelessness because of changes in the workforce. Now they can no longer keep their pets, or there are changes in renters agreements or what the leasing agents will allow for pets. Years ago, I think a lot of leasing agents would say, oh, you can have a pet up to 50 pounds. Nowadays, with the population in the Bay Area, sometimes I've heard people like they're limited to pets under 20 or 30 pounds. That really limits what you can bring home and what you can adopt. If you had a dog that was 50 pounds and then you had to find a more affordable place to live, you might be limited in where you can find a place that you can afford and that was willing to accept a 50-pound dog. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's relates back to why this is a broader regional issue, right? Is we've had a lot of episodes recently about housing in the Bay Area
Mhm.
and the affordability and the need to build more. About 12, 13 years ago, my wife and I moved out of the city. At first, we were on the peninsula and we were very limited in our choices because we just had a 20-pound cockapoo at the time. You were going to compete with the ideal person for every unit. It was hard to even get a place, let alone
Mhm.
place that was pet friendly. That number here in the East Bay is even harder for competition for apartments. I could imagine that. Why does a landlord want to bother in some cases? Joybound. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Joybound. You know, Joybound was originally Tony La Russo's art, an animal rescue foundation. Talk about its journey that you've taken as an organization and what led to Joybound, and hit that journey up.
I think it's a very exciting time for us. For over 3 years, the Animal Rescue Foundation, or ARF, started rescuing and rehoming dogs and cats in the community to address the immediate needs of pet in our population and our community. But what we wanted to do is we had a vision to expand because we saw a growing need for programs to support not only animals, but for people that care for them. Because our mission has expanded more, we wanted to evolve and be more progressive. And that led to our name change, led to rebranding from an animal rescue foundation to being Joybound People and Pets. It is a new name, and the mission reflects our commitment to strengthening the human animal bond through a different support system, providing different services that not only addresses the pet's needs, but also people's needs. We've created programs like the Shelter to Service program, which trains shelter dogs to become psychiatric service dogs and facility animals. The program was originally developed to assist veterans. And now we have expanded that program to not only include veterans. This is really important because we understand the power of the human animal bond can be really helpful to a lot of people. And the dogs offer not just comfort and companionship, but they offer support for those facing mental health challenges. They are trained service dogs, a lot different than emotional support dogs. The other thing I want to highlight is that we have our Ingleside Grooming Academy, providing vocational training for people facing employment challenges. Can be veterans or other members of our community. It's a dual purpose program. We provide affordable grooming services to the public, but we're also providing vocational training for people that are facing challenges so that when they graduate from our program, they can seek employment in this industry at a higher price point than basic entry level jobs.
How do you recruit people for that program?
People are referred to us by other sources like Goodwill or other human services programs will refer to the Grooming Academy. Our veterans will also be referred by veteran services or their mental health specialists to our program. We do operate on a referral basis. In addition to these programs, we have our Community Solutions program where we provide resources to help families facing financial hardship to help them keep their pets. We provide things like food, certain supplies. We also offer free vaccine and microchip clinic. We have a monthly mobile clinic throughout Contra Costa County, and we can help with providing affordable or free veterinary care through the clinic, through our on-site clinic, or we do have a mobile clinic. Keep in mind, the care that we provide are limited to certain types of health issues. We're trying to address underlying needs that lead people to surrender their pets, whether, oh, I can't afford a pet because I don't have food. Well, we can help you provide the food, right? I can't have my pet in the house because my landlord needs a rabies certificate. Hey, come to come to our vaccine clinic and we can vaccinate your pets. We also provide services to what we call the Pet Hug Pack. It's our therapy program. It's served hundreds of thousands of people over the years, and the volunteer handlers take our therapy dogs to visit schools, hospitals, and senior centers. Could we know the power of petting an animal can have a positive influence on healing. People in need of some emotional support and being able to like hug a dog or pet a dog or a cat brings great joy to people and also can help reduce their stress to a certain point. Lastly, we have our public training program. Our programs include public classes like puppy socials, basic obedience, reactive rover, our fungility class, our nose work class, our canine good citizen. We use those classes to really strengthen the bond between people and pets and promote positive behavior. And we know a lot of pets can be returned typically between 1 and 3 years of age because they go through their rowdy stages. These are the teenage phase of their life. And sometimes like people don't know what to do. We can get them enrolled in our classes and help teach their dogs how to behave or reinforce the desirable behaviors. Then we strengthen that bond and it's no longer such a burden to have a dog that you feel like is always misbehaving. We can redirect that dog and provide appropriate outlets for that dog and also open the lines of communication. The dog doesn't understand English. We teach it key words so the dog learns through association.
Do you have similar programs for kids and people who need help as their kids get rowdy and some teenagers?
You know, unfortunately, for when kids being rowdy.
Darn, that would have been helpful for me and so many of the other listeners. I love how you're talking about a couple of just key community issues in this. You are talking about workforce development and the need for housing, and you're talking about emotional support. And there's a big move in Contra Costa County in particular, but all the counties to provide more mental health services. And you're talking about, hey, we could partner with agencies that are doing this to bring in pets or a Meals on Wheels to go visit seniors and have a puppy or a cat go in and just be there for a little bit to help brighten somebody's day. There's just a lot of different areas you're really touching on here.
And that's why we did the rebranding of our organization because we want to touch more lives. We want to have a positive impact on more lives. Our goal is to reduce pet surrender. We want to be able to provide resources for people. We also want to be able to trust people going through difficult times, having a mental health issue, like having a pet can really brighten a person's day. Like you said, if you're lonely, we come to senior centers and they may not be able to have a pet, but they can pet our therapy animals. We want to help the community and we want to explore different options and create a bigger impact for we want our organization to have a strong impact on the community. We want to give back what the community gives to us.
How far do you cover with some of those programs in terms of the free vaccines and the mobile clinic or where you can help with the therapy dogs? Geographically speaking, what are we looking at? And
Geographically speaking, the vaccine clinics and the mobile clinics service only Contra Costa County. That is a limitation for that. The feeding program, they do have to be a Contra Costa County resident in order to participate. We don't do any means testing for that, but there is an application they need to fill out. I think the therapy program also is limited to Contra Costa County. The shelter to service program, and my understanding of our program is that it is open to veterans and people of need. People that like you have your therapist referring them to our service. Our vaccine program is limited to Contra Costa County. We go to various locations to meet the need in our county. Sometimes it's on our campus. Sometimes we go to Antioch. Sometimes it's at Contra Costa. Sometimes it's at another location within Contra Costa County. Sometimes in municipal shelters, they provide vaccine clinics, but I think it's also limited to funding. We are able to provide services like that due to donations. Other counties, if they don't have a nonprofit like us, they might have limited resources or no resources.
we touched on it a little bit, but we talked about a workforce program for vets, for people of need to come in and get decent jobs. Can you talk about what kind of training they're getting and what job opportunities there are after? Start with what type of training somebody gets in this program. Is it to be a dog groomer, a cat groomer, or what does the training program entail?
If we talk about the Grooming Academy, again, it is a vocational program for people facing employment challenges. The program provides training for the participants. They do need to be referred to the program. So they need to be referred to any social services program to our organization because we will have a limited room for our candidates. We select them, they go through a 4-week training program, and they train to become a grooming assistant. So they can seek jobs with groomers. And we have advanced level training classes for them to become a full groomer. Right now, we're limited to working with dogs. The program launched this past quarter. I think we've gone through 3 cohorts, which 8 people at each cohort.
Each cohort is running, and the
Or
people
4
come
weeks.
because they're referred through the social service agencies in Contra Costa, the various types.
Correct. Yes.
And then when they graduate from this program as a grooming assistant, what is that job and how much money can somebody make out of that? Because living wage is an often talked about issue.
I think that the price point is once you graduate from our program, the expectation is that they can make $20 per hour and above.
Is there a demand for these jobs throughout the area?
One of the reasons that we picked the Grooming Academy to initiate in our organization is that there is a need for grooming services to the public. One key point is to provide vocational training. The second key point is to provide affordable grooming services to the public, right? Our services here at our grooming academy is a little bit at a lower price point because we want to provide services for people that own pets that do need to be groomed and cannot afford maybe spending $100 every month to have that pet groomed.
Let's fast forward 2 years and talk about that workforce program and the training. How would you look back and say it was successful and you touched a lot of people? What are your goals for that program? How do you know you're successful?
7 years from now, how do we know if the grooming program is successful? I would expect to see a population of people in the workforce where we have more grooming opportunities for the public in our community. We would have also more graduates that indicate on their resume that they graduated from our grooming academy. So we would have more groomers in Contra Costa County and people proud to advertise that they went through our academy.
Yeah. Let's talk about the pets. How many pets come through the shelter for adoption a month, given that you're taking them from all over the greater region?
We're looking at, let's see, we adopt out on average 35 to 40 pets a week. That's a significant number. We're looking probably anywhere between 140 to 200 pets, depending, like you said, depending on our ability. We are our shelter that really takes into mind capacity for care. And capacity for care takes into various factors. We take into the factor of how many animals are being adopted through our facility. If only 20 animals are adopted, we don't want to bring in 100 because that means 80 pets will be sitting around waiting. The longer they wait in the shelter, that might be really stressful for them. We want to meet what the community needs is adopting from us. Our facility may hold more animals, but we don't want to fill it to the maximum. If we fill it to the maximum, then we can't help other shelters if they go through like a natural disaster. Like several months ago, we were able to drive up to Tehama to relieve some of the burden of their shelter because they were experiencing the park fire. They specifically called and asked us, can you come help us? We pulled 34 animals from the shelter, providing 34 additional spaces for animals that were homeless during the fire, the animals that are running around so that they could keep those animals in the community because these are probably owned animals that people had to leave behind or ran away while they were trying to evacuate. We've relieved that burden so that they can house owned animals that were just temporarily displaced to the fire.
That's a great program and also talks about the regionalness of the problem and how everybody needs help during the fire. It's not only the people, but it's their pets. So people and pets at Joybound now. Part of that. To all the pet owners who are listening, what do you want to share with them about pet care given your experience? We'll give them some good advice as dog or cat moms and dads.
I would say that I have different advices for different life stages, but for puppies and kittens, so important to socialize them, right? Socialization means exposing them to different people, different situations, different animals. If you want a well-rounded, adjustable, easygoing pet, you need to socialize them. Coming up in the near future, we're going to be offering kitten socialization classes. People can bring their kittens onto our campus and socialize with different cats, different kittens, so that they become more social. We definitely have puppy socials, and we encourage people if you own a puppy and you want a well-rounded dog that gets along with people and other dogs, they need exposure. Please, we welcome vaccinated puppies or that have been dewormed, that are not actively sick, to come to our puppy socials to learn how to interact, learn how to be a dog, learn how to interact with other dogs, learn how to interact with strangers so they don't become fearful or aggressive. I do think that's super beneficial as a veterinarian to make sure your pets are fully vaccinated. They're on heartworm preventative, flea preventative. They're also eating appropriate nutrition. It's really important. Eating the appropriate food for the developmental stage in life and exercise them. Take your dogs out for a walk. They can always exercise their pets in their yards. But if you live in an apartment, it's really important to take them out for 20, 30 minutes minimum every day to exercise them, to provide outlets for their physical and mental health. Is your dog, and really important to maintain your yearly veterinary visits. And it's really important to keep that in mind because dogs don't age the same way we do. 1 year can be 3 to 7 years of a pet's life. So if you take them in every year, you're actually taking them in every 3 to 5 years, kind of like us seeing a doctor every 3 to 5 years. It's really important to maintain those yearly exams. Talk to your veterinarian about changes in your pet's health. If your dog is all of a sudden super lethargic, urinating multiple times throughout the day, or urinating in pals when it normally doesn't do that, it's house trained, there might be underlying medical problem. Before, oh no, he's doing it out of spite. Let's make sure that we move out medical issues. With cats, it's really important to provide essential things they need in life. They need attention, they need food and water, they need a clean litter box. I'm really getting on a litter box cleaning schedule. Like I clean my litter box at least twice a day. It's really important to clean everything out because some cats can be very picky. And if you don't provide them a clean toilet, they might find other areas to toilet around your house. We don't want to start that kind of behavior. And make sure you provide exercises. Many people may choose to own a cat because they feel like they need less attention compared to a dog. And that might be the case for some cats, but a lot of cats are super affectionate, really smart, and they do need us to pay attention. They do need us to exercise them, playing with them for 15, 30 minutes a day, providing puzzle toys. Ideally, instead of feeding cats twice a day, you want to feed cats small meals throughout the day. Having 4 to 5 mini meals throughout the day, it provides a more like realistic schedule for them what they would do out in if they were out in the wild.
The pets are part of our families. I also like the socialization events, and that sounds like it would be a lot of fun. Maybe you could do a single pet socializing fundraiser as an idea where singles can mingle and so can their pets. And let's make sure the pets are spayed and neutered, not the people who are singling and mingling. And fundraiser for you. My wife's listening. Why are you interested in a single fundraiser? No, I was trying to raise money with a good idea at pet socialization here.
Appreciate good idea. You could always try out novel ideas for fundraising.
I'll mention that to Vicky, who's your development over there, is a good friend of mine. Appreciate all of this. I think that gives us some good ideas of all the work Joybound is doing and what's happening to the pet community and the people community related to pets at different angles around the East Bay here. How can people find more about Joybound?
They can go on our website to find out more about Joybound. It's joybound.org, and it provides all the information about our various programs. You can also look at cute puppy and kitten pictures and consider adopting a new pet. For our adoption program, there's also the ability to do a temporary foster. If you're not quite sure if this is the dog for you, you can foster the animal for a week and kind of take your time to take this dog for a test drive, right? Does it fit your need? Are you bonding with this animal? Is this what you expect from having a dog in your life? Can you make adjustments to your schedule? That's something to really think about. The shelter to service program is not limited to people of Contra Costa County. You can come from a different counties if need be. If you have a need for psychiatric service dogs, you can definitely reach out to us. It doesn't need to be referred by your mental health specialist, but once referred to the program, if we have pets available, we certainly can match you up with a dog to help you. Now, this brings up another point that's really important for your listeners out there is that we do need foster homes for our psychiatric service dogs. Keep in mind, we have a pretty high success rate with psychiatric service dogs, comparable to the organizations that breed purpose bred dogs to be service dogs. We are deliberately selecting medium to large size dogs. The medium to large size dogs are typically the dogs that stay in the shelter for a long period of time and typically are unfortunately targeted for euthanasia because of overpopulation. We go out specifically to look for medium to large size dogs that we can enroll in our program. Our program, however, is limited due to the fact that we need foster homes to foster these dogs so that they go through our training program. And once they go through our training program, then we can match them up to a person of need. If anyone out that's interested in fostering a future psychiatric service dog, they should reach out to us. We definitely need that.
That dog can help them along the way. Please, if you're interested in helping to do that, check out joybound.org and learn more.
Fostering a shelter to service animal. And then the other point I also want to make up, the other point I want to make about being a foster for the shelter to service animal is being a foster does mean that you will need to help bring this animal into training classes. By participating in training classes, you can actually count your hours. If someone's interested in becoming a certified dog trainer, these hours actually count through that process of achieving your goal of becoming a certified dog trainer. It helps us out, but we also help people interested in becoming a dog trainer.
Conversation, Dr. Walani Sung from Joybound People and Pets. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wait, don't leave yet. Hit subscribe. Make sure you get the weekly updates. We have a new episode every Wednesday for stuff happening in the East Bay. In the meantime, follow me on LinkedIn, Jared Ash, or check out our firm where we have a weekly newsletter and blog at Capstone Government Affairs on LinkedIn. Thanks for joining us today on the Capstone Conversation.